Study on black males in public education titled Yes, We Can. It shows 47% of African American males graduating from high school compared to 78% of white male students getting their high school diplomas. The study also looks at possible solutions to closing that gap. Joining me now from New York, John Jackson, President and CEO of the Schott Foundation for Public Education, the organization that conducted the study, and Jeffrey Canada, who heads the Harlem Children's Zone. Gentlemen, we need some your wisdom, your smarts. We need some solutions. John, let me start with you. Were you surprised at all by the findings in the report?
Well, we conducted this study 2 years ago, and it indicated that 48% of black males across the country were graduating from high school. We were astonished to see that there was very little progress. In fact, the numbers are headed in the opposite direction. And we were really surprised to see that in New York State, only 25% of black males are graduating from high school. And in New York City, which enrolls the largest number of black males, only 28% are graduating from high school. And that's a tremendous problem and challenge for our country.
Emotions were flaring in Detroit after a 17-year-old accidentally shot his 11-year-old brother. The teen apparently panicked as he was being arrested. He tried to run away just as he was about to get into the police car. A news crew was there as family members challenged police once he was recaptured. His brother is said to be in good condition.
Whoa, 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 whoa. This ain't no motherfucking Britney Spears. Ain't nobody gonna hurt you. We ain't gonna hurt you, baby. Hey, see, you being rough, dog. You gonna make her leave. Just take it easy on her. Take it easy. She ready. She ready. Just take it easy.
Jeffrey, where are we going in the opposite direction? And particularly, you're in New York.
Well, I think those of us who care about education in this country in New York, first we're going to commend the Schott Foundation and John for this really important study. And the second thing is that we've tried a lot of innovation in New York, and people have been really serious about it, our mayor and our chancellor, and we've taken a big swing and we've missed. And we've just got to accept that, that we swung hard and we've missed. We've got to go back to the drawing table. We've got to push innovation. We've got to make sure that we use the highest standards and that we start September saying, what is it we're going to do different that's going to drive these numbers forward? This is a real crisis, and we can't put our heads in the sand. I know the chancellor, I know the mayor won't put their heads in the sand, but we need everybody at the table saying, this thing has to change, and we've got to come up with a better, more strategic plan to improve these numbers.
Jeffrey, honest people working on this, a swing and a miss. Why? What is going on here? Why does this feel a bit intractable?
Yeah, part of what I think is going on, there's these sort of two big theories in education. One is that, the answer is improving schools, and we are a real believer in that you've got to have accountability, you've got to have data, you've got to make sure you can close lousy schools, get rid of teachers who aren't performing well. We think that's a basic. And there's another sort of theory that says you also have to surround certain kids, not all, with wraparound support so that those young people will be able to not only have good schools but get the other supports they need. We believe in both things, and we think that the president in the race to the top really focused on schools, but in Promised Neighborhoods, he focused on schools plus community, and we think that in some places that's got to be the answer, that it's schools increasing the performance of schools, but at the same time thinking about how we bring real supports to children and their families who are struggling so that we are able to level the playing field for those kids.
And John, how important is it to close this achievement gap for underperforming young people?
It's significantly important. We know that there's a correlation between educational attainment and a community's economic base, a correlation between educational attainment and, quite frankly, incarceration. So I think this story is best told in the tale of two states. One state, which we highlight, New Jersey, in response to a legal decision, the Abbott decision, the governor and the legislators decided to more equitably distribute their resources, targeted in the areas that we know work, improving access to early child education, highly effective teachers, college-bound curricula. Well, you come right across the bridge, and New York was faced with the same challenge in the campaign for fiscal equity, and the governors and legislators did not keep the promise. Instead, they fired teachers, they closed schools, and now we see that the results are indicating that only 25% of black males are graduating across the state, only 28% in the city. And if this is any predictor for our future, only 9% of New York City's 8th graders are proficient or above in 8th grade reading. And that's a national assessment test that students across the country take.
Gentlemen, to both of you, do you believe mentoring is part of a key aspect of a solution here?
Well, I mean, I think that the mentoring is clearly one of the strategies, but you know, we've got some people who are really doing some interesting things. If you look at what's happening at Eagle Academy in New York City, if you look at Steve Perry's work in Connecticut, you see some strategies that I think sort of highlight what we should be thinking about and how we should be looking at this. I think mentoring is absolutely one of those strategies that makes sense, but I think we've got to really take off our blinders and take a much wider view of innovation and thinking about how we move forward. I really agree with John that the levels in New York City and New York State are not where they need to be. But I don't agree that we haven't really tried to push for innovation in this city, that we really have. And I think that it's not nearly been enough. And we all will agree on that. And we've got to do a better job.
Hey, what do you think, John, what do you think about the Education Secretary's push to get more African-American males in front of classrooms as teachers?
I think that's extremely important. In fact, the Schott Foundation is working with Deutsche Bank and Brooklyn College to increase the number of African-American male teachers in the classroom. But I agree with Jeffrey. The work that he's doing at the Harlem's Children's Zone is important. Urban Prep, graduating 179 students and sending them to college. However, we can't be so focused on the beacons of life that are saving hundreds that we lose sight of the glaring light from the train wreck that is headed our way, because we're losing tens of thousands of black males each year. And in order to address that problem, it's going to take a more systemic solution.
Let me stop you. African-American males, African-American males. Here we're talking for 3-4 minutes. We're talking about African-American males. Jeffrey, what do you say to people who will see this report and say, that's not a problem for my child? We are in a performing school district. You know, I have thrown money into the education rabbit hole for years, good, solid tax dollars, and here we are again talking about African-American boys who aren't performing. You know, I feel bad for them over there, but it's not my issue.
Well, this is, I mean, that's a great point, and this is one of the interesting things in the Schott report. While it focuses on African-American males, you look in general across this country and you see a real education crisis among white boys or African-American boys. Remember, this is really just graduating high school. We don't really believe that kids who have a high school diploma are going to be prepared to enter the labor market and be competitive with kids from around the world. So we've got a real challenge. I think the reason this is so important is that we know if we improve the education outcomes for this group, we raise them for all children across this country. And right now, I would dare tell you, this is not just a problem with African-American males, as if the girls are doing good, or if white students around this country are really being prepared for the new labor market. We've got a real crisis in our education system, and we need to be taking this seriously. This is the canary in the mine shaft. Hey guys, this thing is not working. We're not coming up with real solutions. We need to do a better job.
John, do we need longer school days, longer school years?
Absolutely. Rather than closing schools, we need to figure out how we can keep them open longer, how we can recruit and retain highly effective teachers. And as Jeffrey has outlined, this is a challenge that confronts our entire nation. The president has indicated that in order to be globally competitive, that we have to be a global leader in post-secondary education by 2020. With 47% of black males not graduating, we're not providing them the opportunity to learn to stay on that trajectory.
Jeffrey, last word to you on this.
Well, look, this is something, and I just want to put all my cards on the table on this. We've got to hold our mayors, our governors, we've got to bring the unions, the teachers' unions in here. We've got to say to everybody, look, guys, the data is there. It is not working. What are we going to do different? And we've got to hear who says, I'm not prepared to change. Those folk, we've got to make sure we get out of this equation, because this is a crisis. The report indicates it's a national crisis, and we really need business not as usual. We need to come up with new innovative plans, and it means all of us have to work on those plans.